Well, I don't know what else you say other than if you ever doubted, or if you ever, I should say, believed completely that there was Chinese influence in our elections, institutions, media, social movements, and people doubted you and they laughed at you and they called you a conspiracy theorist, you are completely vindicated this morning. And here's the key of the entire thing of President Trump's speech last night in the documents they talked about, the entire thing. And this goes into everything that you can use to counter what you're going to be told through the media, from everybody that still doubts that this was even relevant because they have such severe Trump derangement syndrome. This goes to the entire thing. They're going to say to you, oh, you got to believe what Trump is saying? And this is the answer, and it is this simple, and it's this clear and direct. No. I'm believing what the Biden administration uncovered. Trump just declassified it, and that's the entire thing. This goes into so many levels of so many things that you always suspected were kind of off kilter. Didn't you always wonder exactly why? It can't be just that they're biased. It can't be that. Why is it that our U.S. media is so against American interests? Why is it? It's got to be something. It's got to be money related, right? I thought this for literally decades. We were right. Anyway, we'll get into it. Thanks for finding me. I appreciate you. The world seems different today, and it's scary. But sometimes you got to get through the bad stuff. You got to realize what the problem is. You got to rip off the Band-Aid before you fix the problem. And I think that starts today. That's the good news. So let's keep the positive going here. Thanks for finding Wicked Radio, the live stream and the replay on X, YouTube, Facebook. Clips from the show all over those platforms, as well as TikTok. The audio podcast, complete episode, gets posted for your favorite platforms right after we get off the live stream. Well, let's just take it in pieces of what President Trump said last night. And I have to say, I really wish I was watching I timed it. The first 6 minutes of it were, I wish they kind of reversed this. He kind of started off talking about how hot and how strong the country is, and that's all important. I just wish they put it at the end. It's kind of like that old saying in entertainment, don't bore us, get to the chorus. I wish he started off with some of the statements we'll get to here in a second first, but it kind of sounded like a State of the Union address where you talk about how good things are first. Anyway, regardless, he did get to the good stuff. And here's another important point to remember as we look back on this historic speech and revelation about what we've been living through, all of us, our entire lives, about foreign interference in our country. He didn't say, and this is key, some analysts are pointing this out already, he made sure, and the speechwriters made sure not to say, proving that I won in 2020. He didn't say that. He said it before, obviously, in rallies and speeches and posts and social media stuff and in private and public. Obviously, he didn't say it last night, and I think that's important. What he did say was, even though you may have suspected this, maybe even knew about some of this stuff, it's still shocking to hear exactly how bad the infiltration was. So in the clips, basically, this is exactly what we take away from last night. Massive Chinese influence and interference in our elections, in our media, we'll get to that in a second, our social movements, funded and organized by them, and everything else that you can possibly imagine. The key thing, I said this a couple of minutes ago in the introduction, the key thing was this was all made available to mostly the Biden administration and was kept from the public, it was kept from other officials, and it was kept from you and me. So all of this stuff, and Trump said it at one point in the speech last night, maybe we got lucky that it wasn't burnt. This was all supposed to be burned and destroyed. And it wasn't. That's the stuff that got declassified. But let's take it in pieces. Here's one of the most important parts. Let's start with this one
right away. The People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history, resulting in China's illicit acquisition of 220 million U.S. voter files. That information includes names, addresses, phone numbers, political party preferences, and other sensitive data that would be needed to register to vote and engage.
You probably did the same thing I did. I stopped, and on my DVR last night, I had to rewind it, and I'll catch up in a second, but 220 million? It's like, could that possibly be right? Yeah, it is. And it's just amazing, isn't it? You, hopefully, with whatever banking system you have, whatever bank you use, you get an alert when is possibly your password's been, corrupted. Did you hear anything about this? No. And there's a reason why not. What else happened? So That was a great statement early on in the speech where he set the tone of the problem and the scope of the problem, right? But it got worse, obviously,
as the documents we are releasing show, CIA reporting explicitly stated, and I quote, in mid-2018, the Chinese Communist Party's policy was to leverage all domestic and foreign elements that were opposed to the U.S. president in an effort to reduce the U.S. president's votes and make him resign or prevent his re-election. Isn't that nice?
Isn't that nice? You know what he's talking about. He's intimating there, going again from the CIA information they had that they kept undercover, the previous administration CIA, is that they infiltrated not only elections, as if that's not bad enough, but also, I call them the social movements, all of the disruptive movements that were just percolating around that time and really blossomed in 2020, right? All the Black Lives Matter movements and all the subversive things and all the... Didn't you ever wonder, again, this answered a lot of questions for me. Things that you could say out loud, but you never really had total proof, so you're like, maybe someday we'll find out. Well, now we found out. Oh, didn't you ever wonder all of this stuff, all of this subversive crap that was happening, right? Even before 2018, but all popping up as soon as Trump came down that golden elevator, and then all these social movements came out, and all of a sudden you saw all these street communists and all the other stuff. Who's funding them? Who's organizing them? It can't be just them. Well, I think you know now. But of course, you didn't see this last night if you were watching ABC or NBC. No, I flipped over in our market, and I just had to look to see what they were airing while this was going on. You know what the ABC affiliate in my market was showing last night? Press your luck. And that goes down to a big part of this thing. There's a massive, if you thought there was a disinformation campaign coming before from the U.S. media, my friends, we've seen nothing like what's coming right now. And it's already here. It already started last night with them. I was in here yesterday on this live stream in the podcast, laughing at AOC for even suggesting the idea of saying, you might remember that clip, our news networks have a responsibility not to air this. And I laughed at it saying, she's actually calling for censorship. Well, guess what? It freaking happened. Now, that may go to her power. Maybe, as the future president they want in the Democratic Party. Don't doubt that. It could happen. Or maybe it was just these networks knowing that they were going to be implicated in this too, because he does get to that. The U.S. journalists were compromised as well. Hasn't named any names yet, but you think that's coming? Because I do. It actually happened. Two of the three major networks didn't air it. How about that? And these were the same networks, by the way, and the same people, by the way, that were plenty gung-ho about saying 2020 was stolen by who? Well, they weren't talking about China, but it was all Russia. Remember Russia, hoax 1 and 2? The same people are saying, well, it's just impossible, it's laughable that a foreign adversary could steal our elections. Same exact people. Keep that in mind when the disinformation campaign comes out, because it's already out. We go on.
World country that has elections like we have. In a rare move, NBC and ABC Fake News have both said that they would not cover this speech. They knew what it was about because of the fact that they don't like the topic, because they know how corrupt our system is and they don't want to reveal it. They and others in the media are part of a plot. They want to continue this fraud for whatever reason. They want to keep it going. They want to protect the radical left. They can't have a great country, and that's true. You can't have a great country without free and fair elections. Fraud like this should mean a revocation of their licenses. They use our public multi-billion-dollar in value airways for absolutely no money. They pay nothing. All we want is honesty in our elections and honesty in reporting. They pay nothing.
Is that going to happen? It was a little extreme last night. Is it going to happen? Now, should it happen? Should you deliberately censoring one of the biggest story of our lives? Should you lose your license over that? I was in corporate broadcasting for years through radio, and it's believe me, even in radio, the stipulations are there. You got to follow them. You cannot show any bias outwardly like they just did last night. Could they lose their license over? Yes, they should. Are they going to? Practically, I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen. But still, it pointed out to the entire world their bias. How do you not air this? Even if you had a president, let's just pretend that it was completely not founded on anything, and we know that it actually is. If it wasn't, you still air it because it's a massive story that is number one trending in the world right now, as it should be. How do you not air it? By the way, the same networks. Let's go to ABC for a second. They're going to show The View today. Oh, they're going to show The View with those cackling absolute morons who will try to dispute and take the Democrat talking points and try to downplay this as much as they can for their moronic audience, because that's what this is really about. You know that phrase, the dumbing down of America? There was a movie about the idiocracy. That's what this is about. Keep them dumb, keep them stupid and not informed. That's why you don't air this thing. That's exactly why, so you don't have people asking questions. But they can't run from this. Again, the most relevant point of all is this isn't newly generated documents from the Trump administration. They just found stuff that was found already by the Biden administration, and they declassify it. It was already out there. I'll say it again. In this disinformation campaign, you're going to face from, the powers that be and also just idiots that happen to be running around in your life. They're going to say, oh, you can't believe Trump. I'm not. I'm believing what the Biden administration found. Trump just revealed it. That's the most important thing. Same networks that will show every single other opposition talking point and idiot shows like The View and their stupid network news things, and they didn't show this last night. It's incredible. Will they lose their license? I don't think so. They'll have pressure on them, but they probably won't in a practical matter. I don't think that's going to happen. We go on.
Today, I'm asking the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the CIA to investigate how and why such crucial information was hidden, to fire those involved in the cover-up, and to file criminal charges, if appropriate, against these people. Yet concealing China's meddling was only the beginning. The third set of documents we are releasing proves that for many years, Americans were blatantly lied to about the security of our election infrastructure, including electronic voting machines and ballot counting systems. Dishonest, almost all. They're vulnerable and they're easily compromised, and people within our government knew that.
We need arrests. I don't know how else to say that, but I mean, we're going to fire the people still. The biggest thing of all time, even the people that know the swamp inside and out have said, Trump wasn't able to clear out. Remember, I'm going to drain the swamp. Well, he tried. He couldn't. It's too deep and it's too vast, and there's still people in that same intelligence community that were doing this stuff. You realize that, right? We all need to realize that. They were doing this stuff and covering it up and keeping people. They're still there. Maybe not. They're not the people you see on TV. They're not the people, in charge of intelligence. But the workers, the people who get files, they're still there. You can't get rid of all of them. But we need to arrests. I hate to say it, and this is the thing that they'll criticize Trump most on. Oh, it's a dictatorship. He's firing intelligence officials that disagree with him. No. They want to fire, possibly arrest intelligence officials that lied to you and me. That's what they want. And you have to do something. You got to go after some of them. You're just going to have to. Will he ever be able to completely clean up what they call the swamp, this deep state, which we now know exists, by the way? No. I mean, practically speaking, is that possible? I don't think so. But you got to make an example of these people. You just have to be able to do it because they're still there. And this is one of the most relevant parts of this entire thing that I found last night.
The cover-up of this colossal security breach is even more disturbing in light of the additional information showing that China engaged in other election-related activities to undermine my first administration and our 2020 campaign. They did not want, and they just didn't want it. They fought like hell not to have it, Donald Trump, to win, and for good reason. As the documents we are releasing show, CIA reporting explicitly stated, and I quote, in mid-2018, the Chinese Communist Party's policy was to leverage all domestic and foreign elements that were opposed to the U.S. president in an effort to reduce the U.S. president's votes and make him resign or prevent his reelection. Isn't that nice? Also, in mid-2018, China was working to influence the results of the U.S. midterm elections and later the...
Well, the part in the beginning there he got to was the part that got me last night because, again, one of those things that you probably were the same way like I was for years. You're like, who's funding these street organizations? Go back in time a little bit in the timeline in reverse. Took him a little while. Trump gets in 2016 immediately, and we know this immediately. At the Javits Center in New York, Hillary campaign said the Democrat operatives were running around the room. There's witnesses to this saying, start the Russia story now. Start it now. Get it going now. Took a while to generate. Russia stole the election. Remember hoax 1 and 2? But it was more than that. It took foreign adversaries like China a couple of years to organize and to find their contacts and to get it going. And it's clear now exactly what happened with I'll call them the subversive street element in here, what happened. And then he said it, 2018. That was about the time it started to take effect, didn't it? Think back. Late 2017, 2018, all this stuff started to happen, right? All the protests with the pre-printed signs, all that stuff. You asked it, I asked it. Who's funding this crap? Who's organizing this? It can't be these grubby street cretins that you see all the time now. And now, years later, we still see the same ones, same people, different cities, same pre-printed signs. Just pick your fake outrage. Who's organizing this? Because they don't seem like people who can organize it. China could organize that if they got the right contacts. And it took them a little while. Now you look back at all these ridiculous, preposterous fake protests. Doesn't it make sense? Doesn't it make sense there was a foreign adversary, China, organizing this stuff? It makes absolute perfect sense. So here's the takeaway. All of this stuff. This is your number one counter and what you say to people. You've got them in your life. I do too. I know you do. People who still will not believe this because they've been dumbed down so bad by this complicit media. The same ones that would not even show this last night, but will go on and show The View today and all the stupid talking head things and CNN with their idiot panels, all those other people. The people that watch that stuff are going to tell you, and it'll be the same line because they can't think for themselves. They just repeat what their TV tells them to say. Oh, you can't believe what Trump is saying there. No, and again, it's like the 4th time I've said it. Sorry for repeating myself. I think it's important. This is your counter. I'm not. I'm believing what the Biden administration found because that's the truth. As luck would have it, maybe they were incompetent. Maybe they never thought that Trump would get in again and expose this stuff. As luck would have it, for us, they didn't get rid of these files, and we have it now. And there are reporters like Catherine Herridge, others, John Solomon, that have been reporting this now for quite a few years that it was China. The entire freaking time it was China. So what do we do now? That's your counter. That's what you say to anybody, and that's what you think in your mind when the mass disinformation campaign is coming, and it's already here. From every single media outlet you have in your life right now, they're going to tell you that this was nonsense. Don't you believe it? Don't you believe that this is a Trump thing? This is why it was important. He didn't come out last night and say, proving once again I won in 2020. He didn't say that. He just went to all the documents that they have now released. Go to whitehouse.gov, whitehouse.gov, and you can point that to anybody and everybody, and there's your information. But what now? That's what you say. That's what you think. What now? Well, I think some things changed. He said it last night. Pass the freaking Save America Act and do whatever you possibly can to call your senators to get these ridiculous rhino senators. Boy, is the pressure going to come on then. Now after this, doesn't it make sense that Trump would actually go to the Senate floor? He can do that and demand that this thing is passed with what they know now. How ridiculous. If they didn't look ridiculous before and compromised before, anybody standing in the way of the Save America Act, you're complicit. You put the pressure on them however and whoever we can. These student visas, and Trump's going to have to change his mind on this one too. These student visas with all the Chinese students that are here. Yeah, no, see ya, out, bye, goodbye. It's a security threat now. And it was a couple of months ago he said he was still in favor of them. Well, the big guy's going to have to change his mind on that. And birthright citizenship, done, out. Forget it. Do whatever you have to have and end that ridiculous freaking policy because we now know how it's being used, not just by China, but specifically China as well, to infiltrate this country. We know it now. None of this stuff is conspiracy theory anymore. Now you know it. Now it's changed. So you're vindicated if you ever thought, you're vindicated if you say it now, where China has been infiltrating our country. It sounds like Looney Tune stuff, and they'll still try to make you sound crazy. Not anymore. Whitehouse.gov. There's your documents. Oh, you going to believe Trump? Nope. I'm believing what the Biden administration found, and they just kept it to us. But now we know. So there's where we are. It hurts. It's scary. May have suspected it all along, but to see it in black and white and to hear it, it's scary. But you got to rip the Band-Aid off to make things better, and it was getting bad. So today is the start where we start to secure our country again. Let's get it done. All right, thanks for finding me and Wicked Radio on the live stream and replay, X, YouTube, Facebook, complete audio podcast, wherever you like to get those as well. Just about to be posted. Most importantly, it's Friday. Make it a great American Friday. Make it a patriotic Friday. Make it a wonderful and safe Friday with your family and friends. Enjoy it. Have a wicked awesome weekend, and I'll talk to you Monday.